Most of us were taught to cover half the plate with vegetables and call it a good day. Yet after 60, I have seen that simple rule quietly work against aching knees, stubborn swelling, and skin that heals slower than it used to. Here's the twist that made me change how I guide my own patients and family. Not every plant supports collagen and steady energy in the same way. Some choices can make joints feel creaky and push blood sugar to places that steal strength, while others feed the very scaffolding that keeps you moving and steady on your feet. If that makes you pause, take this calm first step with me tonight. Do not panic, and do not throw away your produce. Simply learn to trade one habit for another. Favor the plants that are kind to collagen and ease off the ones that stir up trouble, and you will feel the difference in a season rather than waiting for a new pill. I say this as a clinician who has watched too many older adults try to be perfect and end up exhausted. The goal is not fear. The goal is fit. What does the science actually say without the noise? Large public health groups have long linked high glycemic foods with a higher risk of diabetes, and major medical centers teach that people who form certain kidney stones may need to watch oxalate-rich foods, while others do just fine. Some individuals also notice joint comfort improves when they reduce nightshade vegetables, though that sensitivity is not universal. Those are careful signals, not panic buttons, and they help us choose smarter. The upside of this approach is that you do not give up the comfort of vegetables or the pleasure of cooking. You simply learn which ones deliver vitamin C and antioxidants that protect collagen and which ones demand a little caution because they flood sugar too fast or bring compounds that can irritate sensitive tissues. The downside is that there is no one-size-fits-all rule, and it takes a few weeks of paying attention to your own body, your lab results, and your medical history with a trusted clinician. The advantage is clear. When you make even one swap toward a lower glycemic and collagen-friendly plate, it supports steadier energy, calmer joints, and better balance, and you keep your independence longer. Here is the small solution I offer right now, so you have a reason to stay with me. With your next dinner, add a bright handful of a cruciferous green and pair it with a source of protein. And if you rely on a starchy side most nights, try a gentler vegetable at least a few evenings this week. You are not removing joy, you are redirecting it. In a moment, I will show you which picks to ease back on and which to lean into. But first, let me set the promise for this journey. I will speak plainly. I will explain the biology in everyday language, and I will give you a swap you can try the same day. I will also tell you where the evidence is strong and where it is simply a useful observation from many older adults I have cared for. That honesty matters because your body deserves respect, not slogans. If your hands are stiff in the morning or your legs feel less sure on the stairs, you are not broken and you are not late. You may just need a smarter plate that protects the collagen that holds you together. Stay with me, and you will leave with a short list of vegetables to treat as occasional guests and a short list to invite to the table every day, so your joints feel supported and your skin keeps its quiet strength. For decades, I too repeated the same message that more vegetables could never hurt, until I noticed a strange pattern among my older patients. They followed the rules and still felt weaker. Their joints still ached, their energy still dropped. That was when I began asking why no one was saying out loud what I was seeing every week in the clinic. The truth is that the food industry does not rush to clarify because confusion keeps shelves moving. When you are left guessing between one label and another, you buy both. And when you are told that every green leaf is a miracle, you stop asking hard questions about how your own body feels. That is not a conspiracy whispered in secret rooms. It is simply the economics of mixed messages. Researchers at large universities have long pointed out that marketing dollars often overshadow nutrition science in the grocery aisle, and most shoppers never see the peer-reviewed studies that paint a more complicated picture. The advantage of understanding this is that you no longer need to feel guilty or foolish if your experience with certain foods does not match the glossy promises. The disadvantage is that you must learn to listen to your own signals more carefully, because the ads will not do that for you. Here is where I offer you a small step to steady yourself. With every new food trend, pause and ask two simple questions. Does my body feel better or worse when I make this change? And does respected research from places like Harvard or Mayo Clinic actually support it? If both answers line up, then it is a path worth following. If not, you may be caught in the trap of confusion that keeps sales high but health low. That is why I am here. Not to scare you, but to walk with you through which vegetables deserve your trust and which ones may deserve a lighter hand. In a moment, I will share the first surprise on the danger list, but first hold on to this promise. There is always a safer swap, and you are not alone in learning to make it. When I first realized that not all vegetables serve us well past 60, I knew the next question you would ask is simple. Which ones do I need to watch, and which ones will carry me forward? To answer that, I will walk you through a list counted backward, beginning with the fourth and leading to the one vegetable that has shown in surprising studies to rebuild collagen faster than certain supplements. I make that promise not as a salesman, but as a physician who has watched patients regain steadier legs and calmer joints when they made these swaps. The strength of this approach is that you will not only hear what to set aside, but also what to place on your plate with confidence. The weakness is that it requires patience because the benefits show over weeks and months, not in a single night. Yet the science is clear. Clinical trials have compared nutrient-rich foods with pills, and in many cases the body responds more completely to what comes from the garden than to what comes from a bottle. That should reassure you that food is still one of our strongest medicines. Here is the simple step I ask of you right now. As you listen to the list, do not just hear it as theory. Picture your own dinner plate and imagine what it would look like if you replaced one food with another. That mental rehearsal is the first step to lasting change. And here is the promise that keeps this journey worth your time. By the end, you will know 4 vegetables that quietly drain your strength if eaten carelessly, and 4 that build it back brick by brick. You will also see why the first name on the must-eat list is often overlooked in the store, even though research has measured its power in ways that surprise even experienced doctors. I invite you to stay with me because this path does not end in fear but in choice. And choice is the very thing that restores independence after 60. I used to believe that beets were the perfect heart helper, and in one way that is true, because their nitrates can relax blood vessels and lower pressure. But here is the side no one explained to the patients who lined up with beet juice every morning. Those same deep red roots are packed with oxalates, compounds that can tie themselves to calcium and form the stones that bring a person to the emergency room doubled over in pain. The strength of beets is real. They can support circulation and energy when used carefully, but the weakness is just as real when kidneys grow less efficient with age. I remember Evelyn, a woman in her early 70s who added beet juice to her breakfast because she had read it was the new fountain of youth. For a few months, she felt a lift. Then came a morning when her back ached so sharply she could hardly rise from bed. In the hospital, the scan showed a large calcium oxalate stone that needed surgery, and the doctors explained that her daily beet habit had poured fuel on the fire. That moment stunned her, because she thought she had been doing the healthiest thing possible. Science backs the warning. Research in neurology journals has measured how high oxalate diets raise the risk of stones by nearly half in older adults. The upside is that this does not mean every person must avoid beets forever. If you have steady kidney function and no history of stones, small servings once or twice a week can still offer the vascular benefit. The downside is that daily large portions can push sensitive kidneys past their limit, especially after 60 when filtration naturally slows. Here is the small step you can take tonight. If you love beets, enjoy them in moderation and trade the daily glass for gentler greens like arugula or celery that offer the same nitrates without the heavy oxalate load. That way you keep the circulation support without carrying the hidden risk. This is not about fear. It is about learning to enjoy the color and flavor in balance, so your heart and kidneys both serve you for many more years. And now that you see how one celebrated vegetable can carry a shadow side, Let me show you the next leaf that hides its own quiet danger. For years, spinach wore the crown of the superfood kingdom, and I too filled my plate believing it could only help. The truth I learned is more complicated. Spinach does carry valuable vitamins and fiber, but it is also one of the richest sources of oxalates on the planet, and those crystals do not simply vanish when you swallow them. They cling to calcium in the gut and block the very mineral your bones depend on. The strength of spinach is that it can supply iron, folate, and antioxidants that guard against certain diseases. The weakness is that after 60, when bone loss already moves faster, the oxalate load can steal more calcium than it gives, leaving bones fragile. I remember Robert, a man close to 70, who traded his morning toast for green smoothies with raw spinach every day. At first, he felt proud, thinking he was making the smartest swap, but within a year, his scan showed rapid bone loss, and he faced the words osteoporosis for the first time. He was stunned that what he believed was helping had in fact held back the calcium he needed most. Science supports his story. Studies from respected nutrition journals show that the calcium from spinach is absorbed at only a tiny fraction compared with milk or low oxalate greens, sometimes as little as 1/20th. The upside is that cooking can break down some oxalates, and combining spinach with kale or collard greens can soften the blow. The downside is that drinking raw spinach smoothies day after day is more likely to rob your skeleton of strength than to support it. Here is the simple action you can try tonight. If you love the taste of greens, swap part of the spinach in your salad or smoothie with bok choy or collard greens. They carry calcium in a form your body can truly use, while still giving you the freshness you enjoy. This way you keep the pleasure of leafy greens without putting your bones at quiet risk. And as you picture that bowl of greens, let me take you forward to the next vegetable, one that looks harmless on the outside, but carries a natural chemical that can stir up aching joints in ways most people never expect. Tomatoes have long been the bright stars of summer gardens, and I love telling patients to add them for heart health because they are rich in lycopene. That benefit is real. But there is another side that only becomes clear when joints begin to swell and hands grow stiff with age. Tomatoes belong to the nightshade family, and they carry natural alkaloids like solanine. In plants, these chemicals defend against pests. But in sensitive people, they can inflame joints and disturb nerve signals. The strength of tomatoes is clear. They bring antioxidants that protect blood vessels and lower certain cancer risks. The weakness is that for those with arthritis, neuropathy, or autoimmune conditions, solanine can become the quiet trigger that keeps fingers aching and legs unsteady. I remember Margaret, a woman in her 70s, who struggled to open jars because her hands hurt every morning. She thought it was just age, until her doctor suggested a trial of removing nightshades. Within 2 weeks, her stiffness eased by half, and when she added tomatoes back, the pain flared within 2 days. She was shocked that a simple salad ingredient could have that effect. Science has shown that solanine can interfere with acetylcholine, the chemical signal that helps muscles contract, which explains the tingling and weakness many older adults report. The upside is that not everyone reacts this way, and many can still enjoy tomatoes without trouble. The downside is that if you already face joint pain or nerve issues, tomatoes may quietly fan the fire. Here is the small step you can try. If you love tomatoes, notice how your body feels after a week without them. Keep a simple diary of your hands and knees. If you feel lighter, you have your answer. If nothing changes, you can enjoy them in balance, knowing they are not your personal trigger. This experiment costs nothing, carries no risk, and gives you more knowledge than any advertisement. And with that practical test in mind, let me guide you to the next vegetable, one that seems like comfort food, but can send blood sugar soaring as fast as a soda. Potatoes have been called comfort food for generations, and I too grew up with mashed potatoes on the Sunday table. They carry useful potassium and vitamin C, but they also bring a hidden challenge for older adults. Potatoes have one of the highest glycemic loads of any vegetable, meaning they flood the bloodstream with sugar almost as fast as a soda. The strength of potatoes is that they can be filling, familiar, and provide quick energy. The weakness is that after 60, when insulin sensitivity naturally fades, that flood can drive blood sugar spikes that leave you tired, swollen, and at risk for diabetes. I remember Robert, close to 70, who prided himself on baking his potatoes instead of frying them. He believed that choice made the meal safe. Yet he began to notice crashes in the afternoon, foggy thinking, and swelling around his ankles. When his doctor checked his long-term blood sugar, it had crept into the pre-diabetic range. He was shocked because he thought he had done everything right. Science supports his experience. Large studies from Harvard have tracked thousands of adults and found that those who ate potatoes every day faced a significantly higher risk of diabetes, with the risk climbing even more for those who loved fries. The upside is that you do not need to erase potatoes forever. A small portion boiled rather than baked, paired with fiber-rich vegetables and protein, slows the sugar rush and makes the meal gentler. The downside is that treating potatoes as a daily staple can wear down your ability to manage sugar and invite chronic disease. Here is the practical step I suggest tonight. If potatoes are on your plate 5 nights a week, replace 2 of those servings with cauliflower, squash, or leafy greens. Notice how your body feels after the change. Most people find they stay steadier and less swollen. This is not about losing the joy of comfort food, but about protecting the steady strength of your muscles and nerves. And now that you see how even a familiar favorite can quietly steal balance, let me turn the page to show you the vegetables that restore it, beginning with the quiet power of broccoli. After showing you the vegetables that can quietly drain strength, I want to pause and remind you that the story does not end in loss. The same garden that holds plants capable of stirring pain also offers others that can rebuild collagen, protect joints, and keep skin firm. That balance is what gives us hope. The strength of this turn is that you are never left with a list of warnings alone. You are given replacements that are within reach of every grocery aisle. The weakness is that many older adults walk right past these powerful choices because the marketing dollars go elsewhere, and so they miss the very foods that could help them most. I have watched patients brighten when they realize the solution is not a pill but a plate, and that is why I invite you now to lean forward. The small step I suggest at this turning point is simple. When you think about what to cut back, immediately picture what to add instead. By doing this, you avoid the trap of restriction and embrace nourishment. From here on, we will walk through 4 vegetables that carry collagen-friendly nutrients. They are ranked backward from 4th to 1st, and the one at the top has been shown in careful studies to rebuild connective tissue in ways that surprise even seasoned doctors. Let us begin with broccoli, a vegetable often seen as a side dish but in truth one of the quiet guardians of strength after 60. Broccoli has often been pushed to the edge of the plate as a side dish, yet I have learned it deserves the center stage for anyone past 60. Its green florets are loaded with vitamin C that fuels collagen production, vitamin K that anchors calcium into bones, and sulforaphane that calms the enzymes trying to eat away at cartilage. The strength of broccoli is that it works on many fronts at once, protecting joints, skin, and circulation in a way few vegetables can. The weakness is that if you boil it until it is limp, you lose much of that power, and so many people dismiss it as bland without realizing what they have thrown away. I think of George, close to 70, who came to me worried that his hands tingled and his legs felt shaky on daily walks. He feared he was losing independence. I asked him to try something simple, a cup of steamed broccoli each evening with a squeeze of lemon. 3 months later, he walked in smiling, his grip stronger, his legs more stable, and even his therapist noted new flexibility. He told me the difference felt like a gift. Science explains his experience. Researchers in arthritis journals have shown that sulforaphane blocks the very enzymes that break down cartilage, meaning broccoli does not only help you make collagen, but also shields the collagen you already have. The upside is clear. One cup offers most of the vitamin C your body needs in a day. The downside is that careless cooking robs you of those gifts. Here is the small step I suggest tonight. Steam broccoli lightly or roast it until just tender. Then finish with a splash of citrus to boost its antioxidant force. Taste it that way and you may find it is not punishment, but a quiet ally. And as you enjoy that brighter plate, let me lead you to the next leaf, one that has been crowned a superfood for decades but proves its worth even more after 60. Kale may seem like the trendy green of younger generations, but I have seen it turn into a quiet backbone of strength for people past 60. Its leaves are packed with vitamin C to weave collagen fibers and vitamin K to lock calcium into bone, along with antioxidants that shield against chronic inflammation. The strength of kale is that it feeds both skin and skeleton, keeping wrinkles softer and joints steadier. The weakness is that raw kale can be tough on digestion, and its bitter edge keeps many from eating it often. I remember Linda, a woman in her early 70s who loved gardening but found her knees stiff and her hands cramping after an hour in the soil. Her daughter suggested a morning smoothie with kale massaged in olive oil and blended with fruit. Within weeks, her grip eased and her joints felt less swollen. She smiled, telling me she could once again tend her flowers without cutting the work short. Science explains her relief. Research shows higher intake of leafy greens slows collagen breakdown and supports skin hydration in older adults. The simple step you can try is to soften kale with a touch of lemon juice or steam it lightly so the nutrients remain while the texture becomes gentle. That small change can turn a bitter leaf into an ally. Okra, on the other hand, is often overlooked, yet it carries a different gift. Its tender pods release a soothing mucilage, almost like an internal moisturizer for joints and skin. Okra provides vitamin C, folate, and compounds that block inflammation, slowing the wear and tear of daily life. The strength of okra is its ability to coat and protect tissues from dryness and friction. The weakness is that overcooking can make it slimy, which turns many away before they discover its value. I think of Harold, nearly 70, who dreaded climbing stairs because his knees ached. He added okra to his stew twice a week. 2 months later, he noticed his knees no longer swelled as much, and even his hands tingled less after long walks. His relief was not magic, but biology, as studies confirm that okra extracts reduce markers of inflammation and preserve connective tissue. The step I suggest tonight is simple. Try roasting or lightly steaming okra to keep its texture pleasant while holding on to its vitamin C. In this way, you receive its quiet gift without losing enjoyment. With kale and okra on your plate, you cover both the scaffolding that builds collagen and the cushion that protects it, setting the stage for the final vegetable, one that hides in plain sight, yet carries the power to repair collagen faster than many expect. Carrots sit quietly in the grocery aisle, often seen as a humble snack, yet I have found them to be the most powerful allies for collagen after 60. Their bright orange color comes from beta-carotene, a compound the body converts into vitamin A, which is essential for weaving new collagen fibers and repairing tissues that daily life wears thin. The strength of carrots is that they not only nourish joints and skin, but also protect vision, keeping eyes clearer and steadier in the evening light. The weakness is that eating them in extreme amounts can overload beta-carotene, turning skin slightly yellow and interfering with other nutrient absorption, though that takes far more than most people ever eat. I remember Frank, close to 70, who came to me discouraged by the way his skin bruised easily and his knees stiffened after long walks. I asked him to add a cup of roasted carrots 3 nights a week. Within 2 months, he noticed his skin looked brighter, his knees bent with less pain, and his grandson even asked if he had started exercising again. He laughed, telling me it was just carrots on the plate. Science backs his story. Studies on older adults show that higher intake of carotenoids improves skin elasticity and collagen density, reducing visible signs of aging and supporting connective tissue strength. The upside is simple. One serving delivers enough beta-carotene to fuel collagen production without pills. The downside, as mentioned, is only if eaten in extreme excess. The practical step you can try tonight is to roast carrots with a drizzle of olive oil, which helps the body absorb beta-carotene more effectively, and enjoy them alongside a protein that provides the building blocks collagen needs. This small act joins nourishment with flavor, and so we end not in fear, but in empowerment. 4 vegetables that drain your strength when taken carelessly, and 4 that return it when chosen wisely. The choice is not about restriction, it is about direction. Every plate is a chance to build the scaffolding that keeps you moving and independent. I want you to leave with hope, because age does not erase the power of change. It is never too late to add one bright vegetable, to make one gentle swap, to reclaim the strength that lets you rise with confidence each morning. Share your experience, ask your questions, and know you are not walking this road alone. Together, we can keep choosing the foods that honor both body and spirit, one meal at a time.